Bright Suns, and welcome back to an all new episode of Let's Talk About Star Wars with Maggie Lovett. Today's episode is going to be very focused on the High Republic because we have a new book coming out this week on Tuesday. It is Justina Ireland's book that I just absolutely adored. Honestly, I think my number two of the new wave of books that just came out, Rising Storm, Out of the Shadows, and then Race to Crash Point Tower. All three are such fantastic books, but I do think that a lot of people on Star Wars Twitter are going to be very excited about Out of the Shadows. There's just a lot of fun characters, a lot of new stories, and just a lot of fun. Even though a lot of stuff happens in this, and it is a very serious book, but I am particularly fond of Nan. She has a very interesting story in this book. Of course, we saw her in the last wave of books, but I really like what's done with her character this time, and some of her interests, which I think are very similar to my own. So I'm really excited to see people's reactions to this. I know a couple people already got their books this week, either because their bookstores sent them out early, or some bookstores decided to put them out early. So a lot of people I've seen live tweeting their books again. Don't do that. Stop the spoilers. But I'm just generally really excited to see what people think, because this has been the one that I think I've been the most excited to see people's reactions to. Such a fun one. But we also got a bunch of other exciting announcements this week. Of course, San Diego Comic-Con at Home was happening this week, and a bunch of these Star Wars authors, as well as Christina Ariel, had a panel and revealed what we could expect from Wave 3 of this first phase of the High Republic. And those books are The Fallen Star by Claudia Gray, Eye of the Storm by Charles Soule, Mission to Disaster by Justina Ireland, and Midnight Horizon by Daniel Jose Older. I simply cannot wait for the next wave of books. They're coming in January. Hopefully I'll get them December. And of course, lips sealed, nothing to say, but really excited to see where we're going next. I noticed that, the light of the Jedi goes dark. So I can already kind of start theorizing where some of these characters that we know and love might be headed. Especially for those of you who have read The Rising Storm, you can maybe see that there's some tensions, some conflict, some tumultuous feelings happening for some of our favorite characters. And of course, we're also seeing some of these really complex relationships with the Force and the light side happening over in the mainline Marvel High Republic comics. So it'd be interesting to see if all of these things are going to come into a convergence point, and kind of see where all of these characters end up as we maybe shift into a darker phase. So excited about that. Very interested in seeing the fall of the Jedi in the High Republic. But that's just my theory. We'll see what happens in a couple of months. And then, of course, we also have Tempest Runner coming out soon, and we also have The Edge of Balance. The Edge of Balance was teased during Comic-Con, and it sounds really exciting, and I cannot wait for that one to come out. We just have so much new Star Wars content on the horizon. It's very exciting. My brain just was like, oh, Midnight Horizon, it's on the horizon. But just so much exciting stuff. It's a really great week to be a Star Wars fan. Always love hearing new Star Wars stuff. Also hearing the authors talk about their books and tease what to expect is just so much fun. But today I don't really have a lot to talk about outside of the High Republic. So I turned to Twitter this morning and asked if anyone had any questions for me. And of course, there were some High Republic questions, but there was also some other questions. So let's get to that now. We'll jump over onto Twitter. Mark Sutter asked, how pumped are you for the next phase of the High Republic, or is it more a creeping dread? Oh, that's such a good question, because I love angst. I love darker stories. So I'm really excited about this whole idea of the light of the Jedi goes dark. Kind of hoping that's the Starlight Beacon, because boo hiss the Starlight Beacon. But I'm really excited. The High Republic is genuinely some of the best Star Wars content we've ever gotten, and I just feel really fortunate and lucky to be living in this time when we get to see all of this cool new Star Wars content. So I am beyond pumped. Just living on a high. So much fun. Our friends over at Radio Rebellion, Alberto asked, most anticipated High Republic Wave 3 title, and why is it Eye of the Storm? You are correctly right. As soon as they said that Charles was going to be writing a Marchion Ro backstory comic, it's a 2-part comic. Each of them are going to be 30 pages long, which is a little bit longer than most comics, about 15 pages, not including cover and back. Oh my God, I'm so excited. If you are a first-time visitor to my channel, you may not know that I'm a huge Marchion Ro fan. Love the character, love the concept behind him. So excited to see what his backstory is. And I love that Charles is the one who's writing this because, of course, he is the one who created this character in Light of the Jedi and introduced us to him. So it is very exciting to see him peel back the layers and reveal who he is. Of course, there's a lot of things we don't know about him. We kind of know about his relationship with his father, but we don't really know what happened to his family. And that's obviously like a looming thing in Light of the Jedi. And then we have, this concept that Marchion Ro isn't actually his name. He has another name, very Kylo Ren Ben Solo, my heart. And then there's just some stuff that we learn in The Rising Storm about him, how he functions as the Eye, how he interacts with other people. We see some of that in Out of the Shadows as well. There's just a lot about his character that I want more. And so I'm so excited that Charles is getting to do that. Which then, of course, brings me to the next question, which is from Matthew, who asked, how mad are you at Charles Soule for brutally stabbing you in the back with the pronunciation of Marchion Ro's name? Charles, if you're watching this, I forgive you, but someone should have told Mark Thompson when he was recording the audiobook for Light of the Jedi that you wanted Marchion Ro's name to be said Marchion Ro. Me reading it and having once upon a time spoken about a Marquis and knowing that a Marquis's wife is called a Marchioness, which is spelled exactly like Marchion, but with N-E-S-S on the end, immediately saw the word and thought Marchioness, Marchion. Like, Marchion's cool, it's fine, it's never going to happen for me. He's going to be Marchion Ro, it's going to be a Han kind of situation, and that's fine. I know somebody said on like the Twitter feed, like, oh, that's like the most Marchion Ro thing possible, that nobody knows how his name is actually said. Honestly, I'm more excited to find out what his like actual name is, since Marchion is apparently not even his real name. So I'm not stressed, but it is Marchion. I'm sorry. That's just how it goes. Let's see, other questions. Abby Zalman asked, the high ground, is there anything else in Star Wars that proves so pivotal and yet is only mentioned once? Oh, sand, I guess. I don't think anybody else has ever mentioned their hatred for sand, quite like Anakin. But yeah, the high ground is such an interesting concept because it was such a pivotal moment in Revenge of the Sith, but that concept's never really mentioned again. I kind of have this feeling that like maybe something in the High Republic will like jokingly refer to that. I have no idea. This is not insider information. I would just like to see that done because that is such a iconic Star Wars moment. Joel Arnold asked, I'll bite, who's this Luke Starkiller? I don't know, man. I have no idea. I do know a Luke Jedi Ritter. Let's see, where is it? Jedi Ritter, right here. I picked this up at a consignment shop this week. It is a super cool multilingual Kenner Luke Skywalker figure. And I just love that Jedi Ritter. I mean, he did indeed try to rid the world of at least one Jedi named Ben Solo. Look at that, twice in one episode I've made this about Ben Solo. Scout asking the important questions. What's Marchion's best look? Marchion Ro's best look is in the High Republic Adventures. It's Harvey, blanking on his last name, but Daniel and Harvey's run. It's the fur vest. It's perfect. Combo with the mask. Love that he has a lot of different helmets that he wears. But yeah, that look, and then obviously like when he takes his helmet off and he's beautiful. Definitely his best look. Big fan of the fur. It's a look. Definitely do not have that picture saved on my phone. Aiden Thompson asked, is there an aspect of Star Wars world you think, if focused entirely on, can make it make for its own movie. His personal or their personal example would be pod racing. There's totally a slew of stories waiting there. Oh gosh, I think I've talked about this before on here, but Canto Bight. I was just absolutely entranced with that aspect of The Last Jedi. I mean, I was entranced by the entirety of The Last Jedi. But there was something about like this concept of profiteering, war profiteering. Like DJ is like one of my favorite characters because that whole concept gets played around with the like you shoot, I shoot. You know, this people blow each other up tomorrow, we blow each other up today. Like the whole concept of the Canto Bight, war profiteering, this like underbelly that's benefiting off of the pain and struggle of the rest of the galaxy is really fascinating to me. And I've always said that I would love to see some sort of like super like criminal underground underbelly of society playing the field, kind of working their way through this like elitist society that's like really scummy. And I just love that concept, and I think that could make maybe like a mini series, like a 6-episode series about some new character that's like dealing with the Canto Bight and all of the people associated with that. I've always thought that would make for a really interesting kind of story. Maybe even a comic book. We're seeing some of that with like War of the Bounty Hunters, I guess, but not a bounty hunter, just like a regular person. Maury asked, love this question so much. This is about Bad Batch, not the High Republic. Maury asked, does Roland Durant from the last Bad Batch have a future in club ownership? I feel like no one's talking about how he got that place hoppin'. Maybe he's no gangster, but he can make a Studio 54 in space. Would you go to Studio 54 in space? That's the real question. It has everything. Yeah, I would definitely go to Studio 54 if it is run by Roland Durant. Weirdly attracted to that character. I'm really going to need Star Wars to stop making beautifully animated alien men. Looking at you, Marciano. But yeah, I think Roland Durant was like a really interesting character. Spoilers for the Bad Batch. Because he was obviously like not a bad guy. And that was like underlined the whole Omega being like, oh, well, Ruby likes him, so he's not a bad guy. If a pet likes you, you're probably not like inherently evil. But I loved that he was like not really a bad guy. He was just trying to impress his mother, who is like a famous crime boss, and he's just trying to like make a name for himself. Probably says something about me. But yeah, I would definitely, if he opened up Space Studio 54, I'd frequent it. I'd be down for that. Let's see. Robert Dowdy asked, there have been a lot of cameos on the Bad Batch so far. Cad Bane, Fennec Shand, the Martez sisters. Which are your favorites? Rex and Fennec Shand. Fennec Shand is my queen. She can return to every single different series. If she could pop up in the High Republic, I'd be begging for that. Obviously, she can't because she's not born yet. But Fennec Shand, Rex, I love him, but Fennec Shand definitely was like a highlight. Rex's episode was great too, but I like that we got to see Fennec Shand twice, and I like that, you know, yet again, she wasn't really a bad person. She was actually hired by the good guys to save Omega. So I like that. You know, if we get a second season of the show, it'd be nice to see more of her. But I'm looking dead ahead to Book of Boba Fett now, and really excited to see if that gets brought up, because technically Fennec saved Boba's sister. So curious to see if that happens. Who knows if it does. And then the last question, actually it's not the last question. Do you think it's time for a younger man to play Luke Skywalker? Yes. With a caveat. I really like, if you've watched my channel before, you know that I actually really like the Luke Skywalker appearance in The Mandalorian. I cried, I was very emotional. Not a Luke Skywalker fan, despite having a figure sitting next to me. But I really liked what the character stands for and how the character functions within the story. And that worked, I think. I like that it was Mark doing the voicing with the CGI. I think it worked really well. But if we're going to have Luke Skywalker play any pivotal part in the actual like story moving forward, I would really like for an actual actor to get to be Luke Skywalker. Like, I love Mark. No harm, no foul to him. But I think it really behooves the story to have an actual person getting to emote, because the Valley is quite uncanny. And I don't know if it would work fully and as impactfully as maybe an actual actor performing it would be. That being said, I do hope that the Kenobi series has like a young Luke, so we see like child Luke. That would be really interesting, and I think that would be a great gateway to getting people used to the idea of somebody else playing Luke Skywalker. Because I definitely think there's more stories to be told with those characters, but we are going to have to let go of our attachment to the original trilogy and allow that to kind of be a mantle that is taken on by other people as the stories continue to grow. So for that, I am okay with that. I cannot find it, but I know that somebody asked me. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, here it is. Postcards from the Galaxy's Edge asked, what are your thoughts of this Luke and Grogu poster and the yellow crystal? So you think there's a deeper meaning, or they just chose yellow as that's the new in color for Rey's? So if you're unaware, a really cool poster came out this week from the artist Russell Walks. It's really cool. Maybe I'll pop it up here if I can. Otherwise, I'll just link it below in the description. But it was a really cool rendering of Luke with Grogu, like training him to build his lightsaber. Grogu's on like a little floating platform. It's very cute. And I guess a lot of people think that this is like a major spoiler for season 3 of The Mandalorian. I have no clue. I know very little about what's going on in the set of The Mandalorian. But I personally don't think that a story that's not coming out for another year and a half-ish year, not coming out for a while, would be spoiled by an artist's art that just like goes up with no like major fanfare. I think it's just a really cool concept art. I think we've seen things like this happen before with like really cool art comes out and then has nothing to do with like the final product. So I'm not like stressing about it. I think it's really cool. I like the yellow lightsaber, surprisingly, even though I'm not like a huge fan of Rey's yellow lightsaber. I'm also not just like a huge fan of yellow lightsabers in general, but I think it looks really cool. I think it looks really well done, really cool concept. Love the idea of, I'm looking at a Grogu poster as I'm talking. Really love the idea of this little fellow creating his own lightsaber. I hope he doesn't poke anybody's eye out. But no, I'm not personally stressing about it. I know a lot of people were freaking out about it this week, and I'm just like, whatever, if it happens, it happens. But that kind of goes back to what I was just saying. Like, if we are going to have more of Luke, please actually get an actor to do the acting with their own face. There are a lot of actors out there, I'm confident, that look like Luke Skywalker. And I'm not talking about Sebastian Stan. Sebastian Stan has reached the point where I don't think he could play Luke Skywalker convincingly. I don't know if he ever really could. It was fun for fan art, but I would love to see like a newcomer who looks like a young Mark Hamill getting the opportunity to bring Luke to life for a new generation. I think it would be really fun. So I mean, if Grogu gets a lightsaber, I'm down for that. That means we get to see more of Grogu. Also, that means he'll be armed when, the bad stuff happens at the temple. But yeah, I am trying not to look too far ahead or to theorize too much about things because things change. Things seem out of context. We don't know anything. I'm not stressed about it. But that was all of the questions that I had for today's episode. We're already at like 18 minutes. I'm going to wrap this up pretty quick here. If you did not know, I have a contest giveaway going on right now, launched last week. It ends next Sunday, which is when I will be announcing the winner. So I'm going to, I guess, try to put like the little video link thing here. I'm not 100% sure how YouTube works, but something's maybe going to hover here. If it's not hovering here, it will be in the description. So you can pop over there, check out the 400 follower giveaway post, follow the rules and description on that video. Super excited about that. I will be giving away either a Rey Black series, a Kylo Ren figure, or a 1990s Padme portrait gallery figure, which I'm really excited about. So one lucky winner will win one of those. So it could be you. So head over there, check that out. I will be back next week, as always, and with the winner announcement next week. So until then, stay safe and may the Force be with you.